Hey everyone, Drew here, and welcome back to DCS World, where we'll once again be in the A10C 2. But today, we're going to be looking at the mighty GAU-8A Avenger. Let's hop into the cockpit and get to work. Welcome to Kobuleti Airfield, everybody. Now, before we actually take to the skies and fire off our cannon today, we're going to just take a brief moment and talk about its history and engineering, because I feel that that context is very important to learning about its employment. You know, context is king, as I like to say. Now, the A-10 was always going to have some sort of high rate of fire, high caliber anti-tank cannon on it, and it was just sort of through the inevitable selection process that we arrived at the GAU-8 Avenger. But we like to joke and say that when the Air Force developed the GAU-8, they looked at it and went, that's so amazing, and now how do we make it fly? And as an afterthought, why don't we make it do a whole bunch of other stuff while we're at it? In reality, the A-10 was already well under development as the AX project, and they just slotted this into a test bed of it and then went from there. You know, the selection of the GAU-8 did, however, influence a lot of choices in design. For example, you'll notice, as we zoom in here on the nose, that it's mounted centerline, but ever just so slightly off. And that's to account for the rotational force of the barrels, as well as its placement within the actual chassis of the aircraft itself. And it's centerline in particular because the recoil force at over 10,000 pounds is enough to actually destabilize the flight model while in flight. So they had to readjust where it was going to be located so that its forces could be accounted for and neutralized through thrust and through trim. Speaking of thrust and trim, the initial AX models had their engines mounted a little lower onto the wings, and that was another decision to move the wings high aft mount as well. Number one, it allows for people to rearm the aircraft safely while it's on the ground underneath the wings. And number two, it helps keep the off-gassing from the GAU out of the engine nacelles, because that dust and ammo burn-off will actually clog up and can cause the engines to falter and fail. You know, so certain things had to be taken into account. The very computer system that controls all of our flight systems, for example, actually behaves in a different manner when the gun is armed, as you guys will see when we're in flight and have everything powered up. Speaking of in flight, we actually don't have a flight plan today, as you guys may or may not have noticed, because we're kind of keeping things a little loose, but we do have a target to go shoot at. Our good friend Generalissimo, as I like to call him, is hanging out on the tarmac at the Kobuleti Cross that we're going to go and shoot at today. So why don't we go ahead and start the aircraft and get up into the air, and then we'll take this from there. See you guys in just a hot moment. Alrighty, now that we're in the air, everyone, and on our way to the target, let's just take a moment to talk about a couple things while we're doing this. Number one, let's get our jet set up for combat. Going down here to the master arm to on. And then the other switch we're going to need here is the gun arm, which either has gun pack or gun arm down the bottom here. We're going to use gun pack. And you'll notice that the aircraft dips when it does that. That's because the precision aiming computer is taking over and is adjusting the aircraft's flight profile in preparation for firing the gun, so that it can account for where the recoil and spread of the cannon rounds are going to go. And the reason we do that is because if we didn't, then we'd have cannons fire going pretty much every which way. And, well, we don't want that. We want rounds on target. And with this, we can get a much tighter grouping and be a lot more accurate. Speaking of our target, it's now behind our right wing, represented with the wedding cake symbol down there, visible, thanks to our cool-ass HEMIC system. Let's go ahead. We're going to bring ourselves in here. And first of all, I'm going to get us set back into nav mode real quick. And then we're going to pause. Oh, we'll return just a bit here. Alright, we're going to go one click of the master mode button for guns. And then we're going to go pause. Alright, so quickly let's talk about just what we see on the HUD right here. So you'll notice that we have all of our usual information, the HUD ladder, the aircraft datum, but now we get this pipper, and this is our basically a CCIP pipper, but it represents where the gun is predicting to hit. And you'll notice that there's a secondary ring around the outside of the target, and that is our ranging ring. And as we get closer here, you're going to see it start to decrease as the HUD or the gun computer recognizes that we're getting closer to where the gun is hitting. So we're going to go ahead and unpause. And I'm going to take control here. And we're going to put the center of the pipper on our target. and line up and wait for the range to start dropping, and then we can fire. Alright, you can see now, oh, I was wrong, it's on the inside, right there. And then we can break away. And you'll notice we didn't hit right away, and we kind of dropped down as we fire, but we did manage to get a hit on target. Even if we didn't destroy him. Let's circle around and take one more crack at it. Because it does, as much as the computer's trying to tell you where to hit, it is still a crazy gun system being fired from an aircraft. It can only be so accurate, you know? Let's go ahead, we're going to bank around here. Come in for another run. And see if we can't put an end to our friend Generalissimo. Such a good sport for putting up with us today. Alright, come back in here. Hey, there we go. That's a little better. I bet you that got him. Yeah, that got him. Nice. Well, there you go, everybody. That is in general how we employ the GAU-8 Avenger. Guns mode, run in, pull the trigger, and you're good to go. We can do a more in-depth tutorial if everybody wants, but there's other people that have better explained it than I do. Hope you guys found that enjoyable and helped put some rounds on target, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, and have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.